What is going on, everybody? This is Donovan of Schmick Squadron. It's been a little bit a while, but regardless, I'm here for you guys, coming with you another Yu-Gi-Oh video. A top 5 list, to be more specific. Now, in our last video that we posted on this channel, we did a top 5 favorite decks for Seth, and now you're going to get my top 5 favorite decks. And it may not be the best deck, but these are just decks that I just love with a passion and will always continue to play these decks. And some of them are kind of new, and some of them are kind of old, but we'll get to those in a little bit. First off, at number 5, and I'm cheating on this one. There are two decks on this at number 5. There are Blue Eyes White Dragon and Red Eyes Black Dragon. These these two decks, I see as like a parallel to each other, like similar to one another, because they're both decks based around a very iconic old school Yu-Gi-Oh card from way back when, back in like the 2002 Yu-Gi-Oh days, where you only had your Blue Eyes White Dragons and black Red Eyes Black Dragons. And if I had to choose one over the other, I would say Red Eyes, because that was the one I wanted to build first. And my first deck I ever got was a Joey starter deck back in 2002. And it had a Red Eyes Black Dragon in it. And that deck stayed with me for years and years until I got back into Yu-Gi-Oh about a year and a half ago. And another thing I want to say is, because I didn't build Red Eyes first, I built Blue Eyes instead, and that deck is also just a lot of fun. It's just it's always funny when I play against Seth, and I always seem to manage to get Blue Eyes White Dragon out, and then I activate Burst Stream of Destruction to destroy all of his monsters, and he just goes, "Who plays that card?" Just screams it out, in frustration. But it's just so fun to play. And I'm extremely excited for the new Blue Eye support that'll be coming out in about a month. So, yeah. Next up on the list, number 4, Dynamis. Now, when I got back into Yu-Gi-Oh, like I said, about a year and a half ago, might be a little soon, like might be just 1 year ago. I can't remember. When I first got back into Yu-Gi-Oh, I built a dinosaur deck because everyone else had like a warrior based deck or dragons and all that other stuff. And I wanted a deck that was different. So I built dinosaurs because I found 3 of the structure decks and just threw them together. And when I looked at Dynomist, when Bosch came out, I I was intrigued because, for one, it was a pendulum deck, and I haven't built a pendulum deck at the time, so I was like, I do want to build a pendulum deck, and also there were machines, and I wanted to build a deck that was, a machine deck, so I can use stuff like limiter removal and all the machine based spell and trap cards. But what I think I like the most about Dynamis is that it's very simple. It's a very simple pendulum deck. The scales do one of two things: protect your Dynamist monsters from being destroyed, or protect your Dynamist monsters from being targeted. Simple enough. And of course, Rex is such a good card when you gotta get rid of something on your opponent's side of the field that's probably stronger than you. You just have him shuffle that card back into the deck. It's really good. And it can make Cyber Dragon Infinity quite easily. It's one of the few decks that can actually make Cyber Dragon Infinity quite easily. And that's another reason why I love this deck. Number 3, Fluffles. Or Frightfur, whatever you want to call it. It goes by both names. This is, I want to say this is the most recent deck I've built, uh, and it's just a load of fun. I always love just swarming the field with all the fusions and just destroying my opponent, whether it's Tiger to destroy my opponent's field, Sabretooth so we can boost all my monsters' attack points, or just be like that person, just be like Sheep. Sheep attacks your monster. Sheep gets destroyed. He comes back. It attacks again. It's just so evil, but I love it so much. And if there's just one more thing, excuse me, if there's one more thing I want to say about Fluffles is that it's probably my most consistent deck that I have. And what I mean by consistent, it means it has a lot of search power, a lot of draw power, a lot of recyclability. So as of right now, it's one of my favorite decks to take to like locals or tournaments to stack up against stuff, and it's anti Cosmo too, which is always always fun to play that deck against Cody because can't get around Sabretooth. Number two on my list is Heroes, and Heroes. Oh my goodness. I remember when I was a kid, this is when GX first came out. My parents bought me a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards for my birthday, and I got two Avian, two Percentatrix, two Clayman, and two Sparkman, but none of the fusions. I had all the normal E-Hero monsters that you saw in the show, except for Bubble Man. Never once did I get a fusion monster. It wasn't until high school when me and Seth and all the guys were playing Yu-Gi-Oh that I managed to actually build a classic E-Hero deck. And I just had a blast with it. And then right now, when I got back into Yu-Gi-Oh, like I said a year and a half ago, after I took a hiatus, I found three structure decks that were E-Hero based, or masked heroes, and I threw them together, and it's probably my best deck that I have. Dark Law is just a stupid card. He is a stupid card, and I love him for that. Acid is also a great card, and do that combo with Absolute Zero. It's fucking stupid. Now to go to my number one deck. This might surprise some people, but my number one favorite deck of all time is Toons. Yes, Toons. Let me explain why. First of all, when I said that the Joey starter deck was my first deck, that is true. That is my first deck I ever got. But my second deck was the Pegasus starter deck. So I had a copy of the Toons. And I also had some extra tunes that I guess a friend gave me when I was a kid. And I basically built myself a tune deck because I just love tunes from the show, from the new support that they got, and I just it's like with me with tunes is kind of like how Seth is with kaijus. He immediately saw them and was just hooked on kaijus. Same thing with Cody and Cosmo. He saw Cosmos. He's a big Star Wars fan. He saw Cosmos. He was hooked. And for me, it was tunes. I just love cartoons. I love watching cartoons. That's one of my favorite things to do at times, especially like the old school cartoons, like the Looney Tunes, the old Disney cartoons, like stuff's from like the 50s and 60s, like way before my time. Those are my favorite kind of cartoons, and these Toon Monsters remind me of these kind of cartoons. And I always just love the artwork on these monsters. They always just seem so adorable and evil at the same time. And I'm super excited that we're getting finally getting a Red Eyes Toon monster. We're finally getting Toon Dark Magician. We got Toon Kingdom, Comic Hand, Mimicat, and the thing is about Toons is that a lot of their support is broken. It's like broken support. Comic Hand is a snatch steal. Mimicat is a grave robber slash monster reborn. I take something from your graveyard and put it on my field. Toon Kingdom can protect my monsters from being destroyed by just banishing a card. Now, the thing is, though, the Toons is probably one of my worst decks competitively that I have because you could just MST Toon Kingdom and deck goes downhill from there. But it's still a lot of fun to play. It's still my favorite deck. I still get as much of the new support as I can. And I'm going to continue playing this deck even if they stop making support for it. I will still continue to play it because I love Toons that much. Well, folks, I've kept you here long enough. We're past the 11-minute mark right now. So I'm just going to say this right now. Thank you for watching. If you got up to this point, like, favorite, subscribe, share. I'll leave a link in the description for the top 5 favorite decks from Seth, his favorite decks. I'll leave that video in the description below. Hush, you clock! I am in the middle of making a video. I said silence! Alright. As always, folks, thank you for watching. I will see you guys next time.